guys, it's CocoaTarot, and tonight we have a pick-a-card on the topic of why you're so different now, plus messages from the old you. Tonight we're raising the dead metaphorically and seeing who you used to be, how you're evolved, and what version of you had to die for this one to rise. My readings are closed right now, but thank you to everyone who has been supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. But we have 3 piles to choose from based on the images in the thumbnail. So this will be pile 1, this will be pile 2, and this will be pile 3. And I will see you guys in your piles. Hey, pile 1. We're going to get right into your reading and see why you're so different now, plus messages from the old you, old messages. Maybe that's significant. Maybe you used to have a diary or send yourself text messages. There could be something significant about going back into physical things that remind you of your past self, jewelry, diaries, even old emails. Maybe some of you guys used to send emails to yourself. Wow, pile number 1, we're getting right into it right off the bat, okay? If this reading resonates with you when it is over, let me know down in the comments. I'm super curious. And please like this video if you want to see more videos like this. Pile number 1. I was getting the song for you, Brick by Boring Brick by Paramore. I was getting this energy of you used to be someone who wanted to be saved. Or you chased others in love, friends. You could have chased approval or the idea of something or someone. And now you're in a place where you've reclaimed your power, or you're in the process of this. You could have been a former damsel in distress, regardless of your gender. And now you've become this divine warrior who can stand up for themselves or has realized you can save yourself. Your old self thought they had to be chosen. And this message is coming through from them where they're in awe because you made them realize that they can choose themselves, or you can choose yourself. I got this really vivid image of you waiting in this tower for this knight to come and save you. And when the knight comes, it's just your higher self. But we're going to get your cards out and see for sure this energy and get some more messages. You got the Sun, the creation of, gaining of respect for or from things brought to life or light. And Venus, wow, the attraction of, pleasure from, good times. So there could have been a lot of inner struggle with your past self when it came to your beauty or the way that you love others. It could be both. I feel as if you're the type of person who used to pour so much into other people. Your cup would be empty, but the people around you or the people you loved, you would be pouring so much into theirs and making sure that they were always happy and always feeling loved. But that left you in a place where other people couldn't really measure up to that, or they couldn't really give you that same type of unconditional love that you showed others. A lot of the love that you poured out in hopes of a new beginning or some kind of understanding from other individuals or situations, you've learned to pour that into yourself. Some of you guys could even have self-sacrificed out of love in the past, but you also got the polar bear. Got a little crystal gem that wants to be on the table. Stand up for yourself and speak your truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to outcome. That's that divine warrior energy. Maybe in the past you were someone who gave a lot of second chances, or you let people insult you, say things to you, and you would just let it slide out of love. But the new you has realized that's not love. If you're pouring so much into a situation or another person and they're still not giving you anywhere close to that, in the past you would have invested more. Like, I need to give more. But now you've learned, no, that means I need to give less, because I'm not receiving what I'm giving. So there's a lot about autonomy and sovereignty here. Those are 2 big key words. you learning how to put yourself first and not feeling guilty about it because it's how you save yourself. I'm getting that quote that's like, put your oxygen mask on first. You also got the Page of Swords, eagerness, enthusiasm, future potential. Embrace your inner beauty and outer beauty. There's definitely something here about you guys' appearance that maybe you've changed your appearance a lot, the way you've looked. You could have dyed your hair a lot, piercings. You could have a lot of tattoos now compared to how you did in the past. You also got ill temper, bad mouth, and clash of spirits. Okay, for sure there is this huge message about that you're not afraid to fight. I'm hearing that Beastie Boys song, Fight for Your Right to Party. Okay, whether it was to party or something deeper, you guys are not afraid to tell it like it is, or to defend yourself, or even to say what you need to say as opposed to holding your tongue to keep the peace. You're in a place right now that's all about radiant self-worth and clarity. If it's not the truth, you don't want it. If it's a fantasy, you don't want it. In the past, you were so caught up in escapism or putting your faith in things or people who weren't even thinking twice about you. And you've come to this place where you're so different because you're like, if it's not the truth, I don't want it. If it's not true love, I don't want it. If it's not integrity in my work, I don't want it. If it doesn't involve spirit, the divine God, whoever you believe in, I don't want it. I think the old you would be so shocked with how much you put yourself first. But it's because the old you didn't even know they had that choice. It's making me think, when I was younger, I grew up with petit mal seizures or absentee seizures. And I was the only one in my family who had it. So the doctors couldn't really figure out what was going on. I had to take a lot of medicine, and they bothered me for years. But because of them, I was always told, you won't be able to drive, you won't be able to live alone. I wouldn't be able to have, these rite of passages or independence that normal people would have because of my seizures. And because of a lot of those diagnoses, even my own family would treat me differently, or I was treated differently by people because I was always seen as a dependent as opposed to someone who is independent. And for a long time, it created this story inside of myself that I can't do things on my own. So maybe it's something similar like that with you guys, where it's not even just you being blinded by escapism or something. There could have just been factors in your life that made it feel as if you had to be saved, or you weren't allowed to speak up for yourself or have a certain amount of sovereignty. This could even be because of your gender, masculine or feminine, not being able to express yourself in a certain way because of stigmas. And you're so different now because you've decided you're not the diagnosis, or you're not someone that's meant to just lie in wait, okay? You are your own person, and with enough self-love and pouring into yourself, you can do anything. And you've been on a deep path of learning that it's not so scary to do it alone, or to advocate for yourself, or to even love yourself. For a lot of you guys, you've stopped settling for meaningless connections and have only decided to put your energy into people and situations that have deep, meaningful energy to it, or isn't just surface level. You've stopped settling for crumbs or just the bare minimum. For some of you with the bad mouth here, you could have been afraid to say certain things because you didn't want to come across as a jerk or being mean, and you could be in this place now where you're like, I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to, sugarcoat or try to be nice, especially if it's something that means a lot to me. And I don't think you're afraid of confrontation. Maybe you used to be in the past. We're going to get some more, though. Tell me more about pile number 1. Why are they so different now? And messages from their old self. I'm just seeing your old self be in awe of everything that you're doing right now. They can't even fathom that this was an option, that this was a possibility. You could be doing a line of work or a hobby or just living in a certain place. There's something in your life that your old self couldn't conceptualize, even if they tried. Okay, we also got the Prince of Swords. Wow. Knight of Swords and Page of Swords energy. Yeah, there's something here about your communication that has grown a lot. The Three of Wands. Tell me more. Clarify this. The Queen of Cups. There's that self-love. The Two of Cups. Yeah, wow. And the Magician. I know this might sound strange because this is a spiritual space, but you could have had an ego glow up with the Sun here and the Queen of Cups. I'm almost seeing, and the Magician, it's almost as if the divine God spirit, whoever you believe in, they needed you to have more ego. Okay, in spiritual spaces, they talk about how ego is, the worst thing ever. It's the Antichrist. Oh my God, your ego. But you need your ego. Healthy ego is important because your healthy ego protects you from being underestimated, from not getting what you deserve, especially when it comes with financial matters. And I don't know, if you look at people who are egotistical, they have a lot in life because they demanded it. So I'm not saying that you need to be full of ego, but this is definitely something where the new you has a healthy ego, where the old you had no ego to the point where people could walk all over you, or you didn't demand things for yourself because you thought that that made you a bad person, or, oh, I must not have empathy if I stand up for myself, if I tell somebody off. You're allowed to say F you. I don't care what spiritual space you're in. I don't care how kind you are. You're allowed to say F you. You're allowed to demand what you want out of a situation, especially if it's financial or has to do with your work. This could even be in love, where some of you guys, you didn't advocate for what you wanted in romantic relationships because you didn't want to come across as needy, or you wanted to be the cool girl, the cool guy. Oh no, I'm cool, it's fine, we can keep it chill. And now you're like, no, we're not keeping it chill. I'm not chill. In fact, I'm the opposite of chill. I'm possessive, and you need to do this. I don't know, there's something here where you showing your shadow side is actually a big lesson for you that your old self is really shocked about, because they were taught to hide this in order to be loved, to not have sovereignty in order to be loved, in order to be respected. You're more transparent now, and that means you're more you. You're more authentic. And you're shining now because you've let go of shame. You've recognized that shame and burdens and expectations and all that stuff is no longer yours to carry. That you're only carrying what you want for your life, not other people's burdens and weight and all this other stuff that you would take on out of love. But you've realized that that's not love. And you've manifested a lot for yourself by turning your energy inward. This could even be on a surface level way, where some of you guys maybe used to crush a lot, used to be a little boy girl crazy, and now you're like, okay, let me focus on me. And now you have a really good job, or you got a stable apartment or neighborhood, or there's some kind of tangible success that came out of you putting your energy into yourself. Standing up to get a certain amount of pay, or actually doing something that breaks a standard, or like I said, everyone told you you couldn't do it, but you do it anyway. You're different now because you don't dim your light to be digestible. It's a beautiful transformation because it's rooted in love, joy, and truth. For some of you guys, there was an old version of you that was afraid to leap, that would watch other people go for things, or you were just afraid to, I'm seeing the Fool card, really take a leap into something that you wanted to do. You were hesitant. Maybe you were very logical, or you always had to think things through. And the new you just kind of goes for it. Without overthinking, without being like, oh, I have to have all the steps and the tools you just do it. This could even be in a creative sense where instead of waiting to get inspired, you just do the thing. Okay, because inspiration and motivation comes and goes, but you just got to do the thing, especially when it comes to creative endeavors. Because you've worked so much on your confidence, you know your worth. So you don't hesitate to jump for opportunities or to go into something anymore, because you know if you put your mind to it, if you invest in it, it's going to happen. You don't need to know all the steps. You don't need to know the 5-year plan or how it's going to end up. That's that confidence. That's that Leo energy. You're going to just do it anyway. You know what I mean? In the past, people could have made you feel bad for being sensitive or emotional with the Queen of Cups and the Venus energy here. You could be someone who is sensitive, who does have really deep emotions. And especially in your romantic relationships, I feel as if you were judged for this. You were judged by people too who You accepted them as they were, but they still judged you, even as they were actively attempting to love you. And you could have been called too much or too deep, or it's too, because you wanted something. I'm hearing soul yearning. So even in your romantic relationships, it was very deep. You couldn't go surface level if you wanted to. And I think that scared a lot of people, or put this pressure on a lot of people that made you feel like you were too much. And now I think you see your sensitivity as a strength. Especially if you're a spiritual person, you're like, man, that sensitivity, it's my empathy. It's how I connect to the divine. You were meant to feel bad for how deeply you loved in the past. But this is a gift, and you've learned that now. For some of you, you could have been hardened. And in the past, because of the criticism or judgments, you hid that soft side of yourself. Especially for my masculines watching. Maybe you showed yourself a little bit. You didn't get the result you expected, so you learned to harden your softness. But you're in this place now where you're embracing your sensitivity and redirecting it into places where it can be appreciated instead of judged. You've come into full alignment with your essence, so other people see you clearly as well right now. You're so authentic that you don't wait for validation to do what you want. Your past self could have always asked around or needed all this outward praise in order to do something. Now you just do it, especially if your heart pulls you to it. And you don't mind if it clashes between what other people want you to do or expect you to do. And once again, you're no longer waiting to be chosen. You've become really mentally sharp, and you trust yourself a lot more spiritually than you did in the past. I do feel that your old self is coming through, hoping that you're not judging them too harshly for the situations or the things that might make you cringe now or feel like, man, I really should have stood up for myself there. That old version of you doesn't want you to forget where you came from, because by you remembering that old self, it keeps you from going back. So remember him and her fondly, okay? Don't judge the past self too bad, even if there are some moments where you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Or something of that effect. But your past self always wanted to be this person. They just didn't think they could do it on their own. A lot of the things you used to yearn for, you found in yourself. You could have even craved deep connections or deep love. And now I feel like you're in a place where you're more obsessed with treating yourself right. And since you've done that much work on yourself, I think you're very particular about who you let in on this energy now. Whereas in the past, you could have been insecure enough to just cling to connections because they were just there, as opposed to them actually being deep and worthy of your time. I feel like the old you is finally at peace. Maybe in the past you were trying so hard to figure out all the answers, and now you just let them come to you. You're finally letting yourself receive love, and you're no longer hiding who you are, or dulling down your sensitivity in order to receive a half love or a half truth. You've become more physically attractive as well because you've directed this energy into yourself and stopped worrying about if other people perceived you as beautiful or hot or sexy. You're like, I am beautiful, hot, and sexy. And by believing that, it's made you that thing. Or whatever it is you imagined yourself to be. And that keeps coming up too, where your past self always imagined you being this, but just didn't know how to get there, or was too hesitant, or didn't believe in themselves. And they're so shook that the key to everything they wanted was to rely on themselves and not another person or other people or other situations. You no longer care if other people find you beautiful or palatable or attractive, as long as you find yourself and your energy attractive. You created your own magic by believing in yourself, and your past self feels relieved and at peace, knowing that you really did figure it out, pile number one. But that is your reading, pile number one, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, pile two, we're going to get right into your reading and see why are you so different now, plus messages from your old self. If this reading resonates with you when it is over, let me know down in the comments. I'm super curious. And please like this video if you want to see more videos like this. Pile number two. I was getting the song for you, Good Girl Go Bad. I think that's what it's called, by Leighton Meester. Tons of words I cannot pronounce right now. But That's what I was getting for your pile. Good girl, good guy, gone bad. Your old self would be gagged, okay? They would be, I'm not going to lie, a little bit embarrassed or feel ashamed because you've kind of reclaimed yourself in a way that is so powerful. For some of you guys, you used to go to Christian camp or Catholic school, and you were probably top on the list to go to heaven, or top on the list to be the pastor's teacher's pet or something like that. And now you've kind of broken that mold and become something else, and your old self is completely shocked, okay? Maybe you put your old self on the shelf and you're like, okay, it's just a little snow globe I look at every now and then, and I put it right back up there, not going back there. I was also getting another song called Watch Your Mouth. So again, there was a lot of religious stigma or strictness, or maybe you are the son or the daughter of a cop. There was just a lot of restriction on you, especially in terms of finding out who you are. And honestly, your old self came through with this message of, I don't really trust you. I don't know who the heck this is, you know? They might even judge you a little bit. For some of you guys, your old self would see you right now and think that you were the devil. Yep. Promiscuous, all the names, because they were so much in this old doctrine or couldn't see outside of a certain lens, whether it was religious or not. You've embraced your darkness. Your old self was a version of yourself that tried to be good, and now you're unapologetic, you're sensual, okay? You're aware of your power, you're not afraid to let it burn. You're like, burn, baby, burn. And your old self would be livid, okay? Livid. The person you are now, I feel as if your old self would hate in public, but secretly have posters up on their walls. It's making me think of the fact, you know, I grew up in a very non-conventional home, okay? I grew up with a single mom, but my mom was into a lot of spirituality growing up, Wicca, all of that kind of stuff. And it really made me embarrassed growing up because I kind of just wanted to be Catholic or Christian or Jewish like the other kids. I wanted to just, you know, have communion or bar mitzvah or whatever. So I remember when I was young and my friends would come over, I would literally hide her tarot cards. I would hide her spell books, her Wicca books, you know. She would even have cauldrons and stuff, and I absolutely hated it, guys. And I think if my old self saw me during tarot right now, she would be so embarrassed. She would be like, why aren't you masking? And side note, that also just goes to show it doesn't really matter where you grow up. You're always going to seek knowledge outside of the village. And I don't know, it just reminds me of that. You guys could be like that, where you're doing something completely opposite or even something your old self would have shamed or been against or judged. And you've become that. You've embraced that. You could even look like a totally different person to your old self where they wouldn't even recognize you. I do think, though, we're going to get your cards out, but I do think also when I was a kid, I was so ashamed of it too, because as a person of color, I feel like when you get into spirituality, you get judged for doing voodoo and magic and love spells. But when you're more Eurocentric, people are like, oh, you're just finding yourself, you're healing your trauma, you know? And so I think I internalized that and just knew people are going to think I'm a weirdo if my family is open to spirituality. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where if you said you believed in aliens, people thought that you were psycho. So you guys could just really relate to that, where you're doing everything your old self swore you wouldn't, but it's in a very positive way and in a way that has shattered your perception of what's possible. But enough about me. You got Jupiter. Learn or teach, be positive about, grow and expand. And Capricorn. Wow, that's literally the devil. Capricorn, in the tarot, the devil card represents Capricorn. That is so funny. You could have even been afraid of physical depictions of the devil if you grew up in a really Christian home. But dedication to achieve, focusing on, resulting from the rules imposed by, so many rules. So many rules. And now I'm hearing that Joan Jett song, I don't give a damn about my reputation. You are living so fearlessly right now and rebelliously. You could even dress completely different. Or I bet you if you showed me a picture of you as a kid, I would giggle. I'd be like, oh my gosh, is this really you? You look like a geek. No offense. I love a good geek, okay? I love a good nunnery. You know, I don't judge people, but you could have just looked totally different where people would kind of be giggling. Have you guys seen those Jubilee videos where they're picking people based off their glow up, where they have the old picture of them as a kid when they were geeky looking and they have to pick the date based off that? I'm seeing that with you guys where people would be shocked if they saw an old picture of you, for sure. I'm seeing pictures of you at Jesus camp and then pictures of you making out at a festival, okay? It's just crazy. It doesn't have to be that extreme. You also got shark. Trust your instincts to discern the truth of the situation. Knight of birds. Adventure, excitement, movement. Okay, for some of you guys, you could have met a friend or a lover that kind of corrupted you. And not saying it's their fault that you're on this path, but they could have kind of ignited you going down this darker path, which changed everything, but it was an adventure. I'm pretty sure there's something going on with Jupiter right now. You guys can tell me in the comments. Okay, you also got don't push the river, let it flow. Retirement. Naive, sensitive, believes others, laughs, cries easily. So in the past, your past self was very gullible to information or shame. If somebody shamed you about something, it was like the receptors in your brain were like, okay, no, I won't do that ever again. I won't talk about it ever again. You know, you're right. Yeah. If anyone shamed you. And because of that, now I feel you're in this place where you openly reject shame and you openly reject people shaming others. You could be a huge advocate. You could be really open. Like, say you were really Christian in the past. You could be really open about gay rights now, even if you aren't gay. You know what I mean? There's just something here where you have totally done a 180. And that isn't to say that your morals have changed, because I do feel as if you used to be Catholic, you might still adopt some of those practices or things into your spirituality or life, but you just do them differently. You know, for some of you, I'm going to go there. This could be in the form of being shamed, showing your self-pleasure, and then having a revolution with your body that if anyone's going to know your body best, it should be you. There's just this huge change in how you view life, spirituality, religion, other people. And even though you've had a lot of shame in your past or were a part of a certain group or doctrine, and it was really harmful in some ways, I think you're grateful because you got to see a certain side of life that others don't see. So say, you know, you're watching this tarot reading, you're in the spiritual community now, maybe you were a part of a cult, you know, and now you can spot out when certain parts of spirituality become cult-like. You used to be preyed on by sharks who knew the doctrine better than you. And, you know, I find a lot of people, my brisket is beeping, okay, so I feel like that's confirmation. But I feel like a lot of people in the past would use religious texts or certain doctrines to keep you in a box. Maybe some of you guys were married, okay, and say you're feminine and the person was like, well, you need to listen to me because I'm your husband, when they didn't know their butt from a hole in the ground, okay? There's something here like that where you're like, no, I'm in charge of me. I get to choose what I believe, okay? You get to choose what you believe. You get to choose what you're opinionated about. And you found so much freedom in that. You could even be the type of person that takes the smallest things and are grateful for them because of the darkness you've seen in certain spaces or certain areas of your life, the shame. This is really specific, so this might not resonate with everyone, but I keep getting this metaphor of like a drag mom. So from what I know, when people get into drag, they usually have someone who kind of takes them under their wing and helps them get into that space. And that's why I said you could have had a lover or a friend that corrupted you, okay? But this corruption was necessary. Okay, clarify this for pile number 2. Why are they so different now? Yeah, you're totally different. You have so much edge to you. You are the shark. It's absolutely beautiful. And messages from their old self. Thank you so much. Okay, the sun, yeah. And you know so much, okay? So we're going to keep doing the religious example because that's what I'm getting, but I know it's different for all of you, but say this is a religious thing. You've read the Bible so much because it's been slammed and shamed into you that you know when someone is using it to enact love or to enact hate. There's something here where what you've been through has actually taught you a lot, where you are able to see past illusions because of the stuff that you've learned. The Lovers, the Emperor, yeah, wow, you've taken control of your own life. You've made your own choices. We've got 3 major arcana here. The 6 of Pentacles, clarify this. Okay, and we got the Tower. Yeah, your old self is shocked with the 3 of Cups. You have a lot of fun in your life right now. This freedom is something you would never trade. Now that you've gotten a taste of it, now that you know what it's like to think for yourself and not just follow the crowd or follow a group of people controlling everyone, you feel so at peace. Obviously, there's still things that you have to work through, but this Emperor coming out, it just tells me that you are in control of your own narrative. And you might be corrupting others, okay? You might be in the town square. Hear ye, hear ye. Come get this darkness, okay? That's what I'm feeling. And other people, you might be corrupting others. You might be shocking others with the opinions and the things that you have to say because you're not afraid to speak up now. Your third eye is super boosted right now with all the purple that I'm seeing as well. You can really see through a lot of BS and illusions. For some of you guys, you could spot out fake gurus and spiritual teachers like nothing because you were maybe raised around them or were exposed to certain things that others weren't. But this is a total rebirth in relation to power and relationships, purpose. Your old self is in disbelief because you've stepped into this maturity and ambition. For some of you guys, you are feminine energies who were silenced and told you couldn't strive for certain things because of that feminine energy. And the old self is like, oh my gosh, you're doing what? You're showing leg? You're showing cleavage? You're saying the F word? You don't care if the boys are watching? You're like, I don't care. Or if you're a masculine, you know, there's just something here where you've kind of flipped everything around. You're no longer playing it small. And you're being really logical about your dreams, but you're going for them full force. And you're not afraid to take up space. Maybe some of you guys were raised or around people who wanted you to really shrink so other people can shine. And not only did they do that, they had a little Bible verse or something to back it up, calling you this and that, or, you know, trying to humble you. And you've decided that you're your authority now. You're setting rules for yourself instead of just following what people say. And a lot of you guys have built boundaries too. Maybe this is with family members or an old church or people who used to be around you when you were in that frame of mind, and you could have created a barrier where you've cut off that entire side of your life. You're literally a new person. You could resonate with being a shapeshifter. And most importantly, you've started making choices out of alignment instead of fear. Because of the shame and the circles you were in the past, everything you did was out of fear of what others would think, if you were going to hell, if God would love you, you know, and you've released all of that. You make a choice because you know in your heart and your soul especially, that that's what your spirit guides, the divine God, whoever you believe in, wants you to do. This is literally you realizing that you have free will. Because others tried to take that away from you. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that shamed you, it's because they feel deep shame. It's a cycle, and you could have broken a generational cycle. And my throat keeps wanting to close. These are the type of people that wouldn't even want you to talk about certain subjects because that's of the devil. As if God doesn't want you to think for yourself. And those can be really dangerous people to be around. You should never be around people who never let you question anything. You should always be around people who are like, ask me a lot of questions and are open to giving you information, especially when it comes to what they believe in or their morals. And you're able to spot that out. Who is someone worth leading and someone who are leading people the wrong way with shame and anger and resentment. And honestly, side note, there's a lot of religious people that are so quick to tell people they're going to hell, but they can't even look at a picture of the devil without, and running away. They claim to have so much conviction in God, but they see a crystal and the heart starts pumping. You know what I mean? And there's just a lot here where you can see through the guise of fear. You know that the God you believe in, the source you believe in, doesn't want you to live in fear, make choices around fear. This inner unity that you found has healed this bridge between your heart and your purpose. Do you see this guy here on this bird? He's flying on this bird, but his head is in this thing and his eyes are closed. It's almost like this is all the stuff other people put on you, guiding your path when you're the one on the bird. Just open your eyes. And I'm not saying that like it was easy. This is something that you have to kind of like brainwash yourself out of, especially if this was a way you were raised. Your old self is coming through saying that they want it to be liked and they want it to be useful. And there's something here about some kind of promise. So this could be promise to go to heaven, or a purity ring, or a promise to never have certain thoughts, or things like that. And something could have really shattered. You could have been through a situation that shattered your illusion of this group of people, this community, this church, whatever it is for you. For some of you guys, this could even be political or the state of the world, where maybe you switched political views and your old self was on the other side, okay? And now there's just this huge change. You've retired from the groupthink, and whatever way of life or beliefs that you've been tuning into, maybe you're reading books or learning about new ways of life, they're really inspiring you. And they help you feel so much more in tune than you ever felt doing the stuff you were raised on, or the box that you were put in. Whenever I get the Tower and the Sun, to me, that's such an indicator of things falling into place in a beautiful way, even if it's shocking or really disrupts or dysregulates us for a little bit. The Sun and the Tower is almost like it was meant to shatter. You were never meant to stay in that illusion. The same people that shame you to hell for seeking higher truths, now you see that they're just like this, with this big bubble around their head, being fed the nonsense. And it's made you so grateful to have learned a better way, where people aren't blocking you from God's love with their own fears. Because I know that something is going on with Jupiter right now, you could actually be having a big moment where you're reflecting on your past self through photos and videos, which is something I personally love to do, look back at old photos and write letters to my old self of comfort and peace. And you may think it's for nothing, but your old self feels that energy. Across timelines, that old you is still back there doing it, okay? And by you taking that moment to write a letter or to really look back and think about the old you, they feel that. And that's what keeps them going on. Just like you're being guided by your higher self, you are the higher self guiding who you were years ago. Be that higher self. Send back those messages. But yeah, pal number 2, your old self would be damning you to hell. They wouldn't even know you were them if you walked by. That's how much you've changed, and it's for the better. And that is your reading, pal 2, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, pal 3, we're going to get right into your reading and see why are you so different now, plus messages from the old you. If this reading resonates with you when it is over, let me know down in the comments. I'm super curious. And please like this video if you want to see more videos like this. You picked the photo of the redhead kissing death really comfortably, confidently. And I feel as if that tells a lot about your pile. The past you could have been really timid or shy, unsure, not willing to command a room or challenge anything. And you're kissing death itself. You embrace change. Maybe in the past, change would really dysregulate you. You didn't know how to adapt. And now you love when a challenge comes, when change comes, because you know it's going to bring in a new transformation, a new mountain to climb, a hill to conquer. And I do feel as if you've gotten really sexy, okay? You've gone from, I'm going to be really frank here, invisible to untouchable. Before, when you would walk in a room, nobody would really notice you or nobody would really think twice. And now you command the room. You're the person that everybody stares at when you walk in. You could have had a big physical glow up. Some of you guys, your body grew up. You're looking more manly with your figure or more womanly with your figure, however you identify. And there could be some people being like, hold up, is that pile number 3? I'm seeing those montages in movies where the geeky girl gets the makeover, you know, and suddenly everybody is like, you're so hot. Or that one movie with Christina Milian, Love Don't Cost a Thing, where she turns that geeky guy into a really popular kid at school. A lot of you that picked this pile, you've really grown into your features, into your body. Maybe you're a late bloomer in terms of looks. It could have taken you a while to figure out your style, because I believe everybody is a hottie. You just got to find the right haircut and the right outfits, okay? And maybe you found your style, you figured it out, and people are really shocked. Not just your old self, but other people. I don't know why I'm picking up on that, okay? But yeah, your old self is pretty shocked about how hot you are now. We're going to get your cards out and see for sure, okay? You got in Virgo, the serving of others, the details of, do what you must do, and in your second house, your beliefs, what you value, your resources. The second house is ruled by Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So definitely there's something here about your looks that you have perfected. I just heard look maxing. You guys have really, and I'm not saying that you look perfect, but what I'm saying is for your facial shape, your eye shape, your facial structure, if you're masculine, you have the beard that really fits your face. I don't know why my throat is closing. You could just really be honing on in your looks in a way that gives off glamour magic. There could be people here thinking that you're doing spells to make yourself look a certain way, but I don't feel like it's that extreme. I think it comes down to you focusing on some kind of health. For some of you guys, you have done a major weight transformation, whether that's losing or gaining, and your old self could be really shocked about that. How your body looks in general. There's just a big upgrade in terms of body and face. You also got the platypus. Stop complaining and focus your attention on the blessings in your life. King of Vessels, a fair man, humility, gathering blessings through work. Yeah, this isn't glamour magic, but I do think there are people that feel that way. And my throat keeps closing. There's a lot of opinions about you. There's some masculine approach that you've taken toward your beauty that's really helped you. This isn't to say that you're dressing more masculine, though some of you might be maybe, but what I'm more seeing is you're being very logical about what looks good on you. So maybe you're looking up fashion tips or things about style and facial structure and makeup and hair. Someone here could be going to beauty school. You also got, it's okay to take your time. Yeah, that's that late bloomer energy. You've really taken time on your looks, and because of that, you have perfected your looks in some kind of way. You could have that perfect hair shade or that perfect lip color, the perfect shoes for that outfit. Happy family life. And an unpleasant event, okay? Don't freak out, guys. A lot of this is metaphorical. So this unpleasant event, some of you guys could have been bullied for your looks. You could have been told that your boobs aren't big enough, or if you're masculine, you're too short, you're not 6'4". Just things that attacked parts of yourself that you can't really change, okay? I don't ever believe in critiquing people on things that they can't change. And this was more than critiquing, it was bullying. And although that was very unpleasant for you and it followed you around, even your old self is coming through as really wearing those insults and feeling really insecure about hair or body or certain phenotype or features that you have. And your old self would be really shocked to see you now in person, in photos. They wouldn't even be able to believe it because it would look like them, but with so much beauty radiating from the inside that it would be like, there's no way that's me. I'm pile number 3, that's me? That's what your old self is saying. And even if it wasn't bullying on your looks, there could have just been something in your life that changed a fundamental part of you, but this change actually put you on course to nourishing yourself in a way that you didn't do before. For some of you, this could have just been like a pure echo chamber. Like, for example, when I was growing up, I was always the friend that never had a boyfriend or no one was asking me out. But all my female friends, they would always have boyfriends. They were always, getting that rite of passage. And for some reason in my brain, I communicated that as, well, I must be ugly. I must be a creature of the night that is so ugly that nobody wants to touch, But that was never true. It was a lot of factors. The environment I was in, the people I was around. It's so much bigger than just, you're ugly and nobody wants you, okay? And I think you realize that. And even me, I grew into my own. It just took a lot of time for me to realize what looked good on me, how to embrace my natural features without trying to look like somebody else. Just small tweaks and things, and it does take a lot of inner work too. I think that your beauty really enhances when you learn how to handle yourself on the inside, emotionally and spiritually. And you guys have done that. And it's changed your belief systems when it comes to your value, the way that you look, even the money that you make. I think you being a late bloomer was so vital because there's such a different experience when you have that ugly duckling role and then you glow up physically, masculine or feminine. If you know what I'm talking about, it's crazy. I even found that glowing up physically isn't really all it's cracked up to be sometimes. People are nicer to you when you're insecure and you are unsure about yourself. People even trust you more. So you could be seeing a different side to life now that you've grown up, and it could be showing how fake people really are. Some of you could be grateful for having that experience, because if no one was interested in you in that way, you had no choice but to focus on yourself and, get your money up or whatever it was. You could see it as a blessing in disguise that people weren't that interested in you because it allowed you to focus on yourself and harness something. Okay, blessings through work. Trust me, if you grew up thinking you were the ish from the beginning, you wouldn't be so evolved spiritually as you are now, okay? I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to me. I'm talking to you. Sometimes God, the divine, whoever you believe in, they put us on that path so we can have that internal growth that someone who was praised from the beginning wouldn't be able to receive. There was some kind of information or way of life that was vital because of this unpleasant event. It actually brought you to some kind of happiness. Clarify this for pile number 3. Why are they so different now? Plus messages from their old self. Okay, we got the Temperance. Wow, that's beautiful. The 9 of Cups. Yeah, the Queen of Wands, like the Death card. And the 6 of Wands. Yeah, wow. All of your rejections in the past were meant to happen so that you could focus on your success, or you can establish yourself first before you get caught up in anything else. Anything that might have distracted you with the King of Swords in reverse and the Hanged Man. Yeah, there's something here where that other path would have distracted you and you wouldn't have been able to learn as much as you have now. Even if this unpleasant event was more than just bullying and was actually really traumatic, it wouldn't have brought you to where you are spiritually, and you actually would have been blinded on that other path, that easier path where everybody just loved you and celebrated you and you're beautiful your whole life. And look at this. Look, with the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups on the bottom, some of you guys, yeah, you were slept on your whole life and you did find partners, or you did find a true love, or you didn't have to go through 20 bad relationships to be in one good one. Because you took your time, and maybe that wasn't on purpose. Maybe you didn't make that decision. Other people in the divine made that decision for you. But it actually brought you closer to actual love. Than, you went on this path and you received the King and Queen of Cups. That other path where everybody just loves you because you're pretty or you're funny, because your parents are rich or whatever, you would have been Hangman reverse, King of Swords. Or King of Swords reverse, Hangman. Just blinded. Just such a powerful energy. And also for some of you that have experienced body changes, pregnancy, surgery, things like that, because you grew up in a place where you couldn't rely on your looks, those body changes didn't throw you off as much as other people. Because you've learned to accept yourself in every form. That's that Death card. You embrace the changes and shifts even in your body. You're like, yeah, I got little stretch marks now. Yeah, I might be a little bigger or a little smaller or look a little different, but I embrace that because I've learned to love myself. And you learn to love yourself without the validation of other people loving you for what you look like, for what you have to offer. You had to grow that on your own. I'm not saying that you didn't have people that were kind and helped you along the way. I'm sure it wasn't always just doom and gloom. And maybe you did have someone come in and be like, hey, you know, you look really good in this color. Or, hey, you ever thought about doing your hair this way? Or, you know, helped you get a tattoo that, I don't know, there's just something here that really added to your look where it's deeper than just being attractive. And it could shock people. People aren't used to seeing attractive people also have a head on their shoulders. But it's because you've had both areas of life, whether this is physical appearance, financial appearance. There's a lot of appearances that go on in reality. You have found a lot of balance between desire and discipline as well. You aren't just tempted by what looks good or what seems flashy. And you take your time to really evaluate things. And that's something that your old self appreciates about you, is that maybe because of insecurities in the past, you were quick to entertain energies if they called you pretty or they complimented you in certain ways that you felt lacking. And now that you compliment yourself in those ways, you don't need those random people to just say things they don't mean to give you these empty highs. The old you would have been so impressed if anyone gave them the time of day. But since you've given that to yourself and focused your attentions on your blessings and how to grow yourself as a whole human being, you don't crave empty interactions. A lot of people are watching you, admiring you, but what's funny is you never needed their applause to get to where you are. I'm hearing that Lady Gaga song, I Live for the Applause. That's not you guys. You can listen and shake your little booty though. But maybe that's how it used to be in the past. Your past self lived for the applause. This could even be with parents. Making sure your science projects, I gotta get A's, I gotta get straight A's, gotta do this. And instead of living for the praise of others, you praise yourself. You praise God. Okay, you do what it is to focus on you. And what's shocking your old self is you're not doing it for the validation. You do it for you. Your old self is really grateful that you loved them through this and that you buried them kindly. You don't judge your old self. You're grateful. Like I said, you look at that geeky little you and you're like, I love you. You were there for me when I felt like I had no one. But your old self is telling you not to look back because they're healed now. They don't hurt anymore because they know they're blooming and they have time. And yeah, it might take a million little deaths to get there, but you reincarnated without having to leave your body. I just realized that this is also the King of Cups. This is a new deck, sorry guys. So we got the King of Cups twice. You have a pure freaking heart. Your heart is made of gold. I'm hearing that song, I think it's called Heart of Gold. I've been searching for a heart of gold or something like that. You guys have it. Your beauty was never about the outside for you. It was about realizing how beautiful you are on the inside. You have something that is so rare. Do you know how rare it is to find a good heart? A pure soul? People couldn't see your beauty back then because they weren't looking skin deep. And that's not to say that these are bad people or whatever. You know, those people just weren't meant to see you in that way. And it's protection. And you know that now. Now that you are lusted after, you know that lust energy is no joke, okay? People will be coming at you out the woodworks. So in a way, you needed to be ugly so you can manage being beautiful. Even though you were never ugly, okay? This is just, I'm using very concrete language just to spell it out. Because like I said, you were never ugly. You just didn't have someone to help you figure out how to best maximize your features. And now that you don't rely on other people's opinions to feel beautiful, your beauty shines through more than ever. People might even be asking you, how'd you do it? What? There's something different about it. Who's your surgeon? Where are you going? What they don't know is that it took a lot of hard work for you to get here. Inner work, outer work, studying, learning. And there could be people that want to copy you now. mimic this essence and energy that you have, but they can't. They can copy the end result, but they can't copy all that shadow work you went through. And that is your reading, pile number 3, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.